Hey guys. Um, this week's readings really reframed how I think about marketing and promotion as part of the directing and production process rather than, something that happens once rehearsals are almost over. Um, Bogman emphasizes that promotion should be intentional and student centered, and that idea really connected to how I've seen students respond when they feel trusted with responsibility. Um, when students are invited into the promotional process early, they really understand that the show doesn't exist only for the people on stage, but for an audience that they're actively trying to reach. Um, One way I've done this is having students help create, a short audience guide for the show's program. So instead of an adult written summary that I would write or I would get off of, the website or something, students work together to explain the setting, the tone, and any potentially confusing elements in language that makes sense to their peers, makes sense to their families. It isn't put in the, theater jargon that, sometimes we write in. Um, this really helps the students feel involved and also make sure that, everyone's going to understand what's going on when they read the program. This really shifts promotion from simply, advertising dates and times to helping the audience feel prepared and welcome. I've really found that students take this work seriously because they know people are going to be reading it, and it helps with the idea that communication is part of the storytelling. Another way I've seen this succeed is by asking the students to think really intentionally about who their audience is. During the production process, I usually try to have students break into groups and identify different audience segments. So sometimes we're going to have younger students, sometimes we're going to have your families or your teachers, and I really have them discuss why each group might connect with the show. From there, they create short promotional messages tailored to each audience that they might see. It really helps the students understand that the message of the show is not just a one size fits all kind of thing. Um, and I think that really kind of aligns with Bogman's argument that effective promotion is really thoughtful and purposeful and rooted in connection rather than just visibility. Um, it also helps the students think deeper about how people might view the message of the show and teaches them empathy, which in middle school they really, need to learn. It's a key developmental time in their lives, and they really need to learn what empathy is. Um, this focus on purpose really naturally connects into Katrin's discussion of thought in the director's vision. Students can't meaningfully promote a show unless they understand what the play is and what it's actually saying. One thing I've used is asking students to describe the play's message in a single sentence without referencing plot details or character names. Um, it really forces them to move past summary and towards the meaning. Uh, when students that use the central idea as the foundation for promotional language, the marketing becomes clearer and more unified, which really reinforces Katrin's argument that thought should guide all creative choices. Um, Now, the chapter on diction applies more directly to promotion than I originally, expected. When students write taglines or short descriptions or promotional blurbs, they quickly realize that every word matters. I've used exercises where my students write multiple versions of the same sentence using different tones, so they could write a sentence that's serious and then rewrite it as playful or mysterious or some other emotion, and then they come back and they reflect on how each version shapes audience expectations and what the audience would see out of it. Um, it improves promotional clarity, but it also strengthens their understanding of diction as intentional communication, both on stage and off stage. And again, a lot of what I do with my middle school students is I'm trying to teach them on top of it. They're at such an odd time developmentally, and they're going through so many changes. And I really try to help them learn about those things through theater and through the fun stuff we do and try and help them do that. Um, Another important idea from Bogman was the emphasis on professionalism. I've seen real growth when students are given opportunities to verbally advocate for the show, such as, introducing the production at an event or explaining the show to parents during open houses or talking to the principal about the show we're doing. Um, these moments really help the students practice speaking confidently about their work and understanding that they are representing the entire production, not just themselves. It also really reinforces accountability since students recognize that their preparation and attitude directly affect how the program is perceived. This can be, really scary at times because, let's be real, middle schoolers can be completely unpredictable. Um, but I've seen really great results when my students are given this responsibility. Even my more troubled students jump at the chance to tell people about the production, and they really tend to do it really well. Um, Overall, this week's focus on marketing and promotion really showed me that producing and directing a school play is way more than just creating a polished performance. It's about, teaching students how theater exists within a community and how their work connects to people beyond the rehearsal room. When promotion is intentional and student driven and grounded in clear understanding of thought and language, it really strengthens the engagement of those students. It builds confidence and it really helps, students to take pride in sharing their work. The readings really enforced for me that marketing is not separate from the artistic process. It's an extension of it and a really powerful educational tool in its own right. Thanks, guys.